NASA just celebrated its greatest victory in half a century. But behind closed doors, the smartest engineers on the planet have never been more terrified. On April 10th, 2026, the Artemis II crew safely splashed down in the Pacific Ocean. The applause and mission control was deafening. The headlines declared that America had officially returned to deep space. It was a flawless victory. That story is comfortable. It is inspiring. It is also dangerously incomplete, because the mission that just succeeded was the easy part. The terrifying reality that NASA is desperately trying to manage is that they possess a rocket to get astronauts to lunar orbit, but they have absolutely no way to get them down to the surface. Decades of internal politics, budget cuts, and canceled programs have backed the United States Space Agency into a corner. They burned the boats. They canceled the alternatives. And now, they have bet the entire future of human space exploration on one improvement system and one man. Elon Musk. There is no plan B. There is no backup lander waiting in a government hangar. There is no alternative timeline. If SpaceX's Starship does not work exactly as promised, the Artemis IV lunar landing schedule for 2028 is dead. And when you actually sit down and look at the engineering required to make Starship work for a lunar landing, you begin to realize why NASA directors are losing sleep. Starship is a marvel of modern engineering, a towering behemoth of stainless steel designed to carry unprecedented payloads. But to turn it into a lunar lander, SpaceX has to solve a physics problem that has never been attempted in human history. Starship runs on a combination of liquid methane and liquid oxygen to carry enough of that extremely heavy fuel to reach the moon, land on the surface, and take off again. The ship cannot launch fully fuel from Earth. The gravity well is simply too punishing. The ship is too heavy. It has to be refueled in orbit. Not once, not twice. Starship version 3 requires 10 or more separate tanker launches just to fill a single orbital depot. Imagine the logistics. Launching 10 massive rockets in rapid succession, sending them into low Earth orbit, docking them perfectly with a storage depot moving at 17,000 miles per hour. And then, they must pump thousands of tons of volatile cryogenic fuel in a microgravity vacuum. These liquids must be kept at hundreds of degrees below zero. If they get too warm, they boil off into space. If the pressure isn't perfectly regulated, the tanks rupture. This isn't just a technical hurdle. It is an impossible bottleneck. Let that sink in for a moment. Before a single American astronaut can set foot on the lunar South Pole, SpaceX has to execute an orbital ballet of unprecedented scale and danger. A sequence where a single failure resets the entire board. Which brings us to the upcoming June 2026 propellant transfer test. This is the crucible. If that test fails, if the fuel boils, if the transfer mechanisms freeze, if the orbital docking fails, the entire Artemis timeline collapses like a house of cards. There is zero margin for error. But the engineering nightmare is only half the story. The other half is the money. And the money is creating a paradox that could tear NASA apart from the inside. NASA's Space Launch System, the massive orange core rocket that just successfully flew Artemis II, is a masterpiece of traditional aerospace engineering. It works. It is reliable. It is also a financial black hole. A single launch of the SLS costs approximately $4 billion. $4 billion. And because it is built on 20th century paradigms, it is entirely disposable. At the end of every single mission, NASA takes a $4 billion machine and throws it into the ocean. Meanwhile, down in South Texas, Elon Musk is building Starship with a radically different, almost alien philosophy. Full, rapid reusability. SpaceX is aiming for a launch cost of between $10 and $100 million. That is not just cheaper. That is a rounding error compared to the SLS. This creates a terrifying political trap for the United States government. If Starship succeeds, if it proves it can rapidly launch, refuel in orbit, and land massive payloads on the moon for a fraction of the cost, it immediately makes NASA's $4 billion flagship rocket look entirely obsolete. Politicians will ask the inevitable question, why are we funding a disposable, multi-billion-dollar government rocket when a private company is doing it cheaper, faster, and better? But if Starship fails, NASA has no lander at all. the entire Artemis program violently halts. Billions of taxpayer dollars are rendered useless. Astronauts will be stranded in lunar orbit, looking down at a surface they can never touch. They are completely trapped by Musk's timeline. They cannot succeed without him, and his success threatens the very existence of their own hardware. And the clock is not just ticking in Houston, because space is no longer a monopoly. While NASA wrestles with massive orbital refueling logistics and tense congressional budget hearings, China is quietly, methodically hitting every single milestone they set. The Chinese Space Agency isn't trying to build 10-launch cryogenic refueling architectures. They are using proven, traditional orbital rendezvous techniques. Slower, safer, highly calculated. Their target for a crewed lunar landing is 2030, and they do not miss their deadlines. If the Starship refueling architecture breaks down, if that June 2026 test fails, that 2028 Artemis IV deadline vanishes, and the first humans to establish a permanent, fortified base at the lunar South Pole, the first to claim and control the priceless water ice that will literally fuel the next century of deep space travel, will not be speaking English. When we look up at the moon, we want to see the future of humanity. We want to see a unified, unstoppable march of progress, pushing the boundaries of what is possible. But that is a comfortable lie. The terrifying reality is that our grand return to the stars isn't resting on an unbreakable, government-backed foundation. It is resting on an absurdly complex, unproven, highly volatile chain of cryogenic fuel transfers in the dead vacuum of space. It is resting entirely on a single private company. It is the ultimate bottleneck, a single, fragile point of failure for the human race's expansion into the solar system. NASA has bet its entire existence on Elon Musk. Now, the entire world waits to see if the physics agree. If this fragile timeline terrified you even a little, hit that subscribe button. We are just getting started. Every week, we expose the engineering nightmares the universe doesn't want you to see. Like this video and drop a comment below. Do you think Starship will master orbital refueling by 2026, or is Artemis already dead? I'll see you in the next one.